Alright, so starting with 1985, they already opened the gates and they opened them wide, you feel me? Starting off with that Bernie Mac sample and the way the Bernie Mac sample transitions into that jazzy, bluesy, old school, you know, musicality, you already know, okay, this is an old school album. This is gonna be mature musically. You know, it's you know, that's what it is, and that's what it was. You know, like I could tell from the beginning automatically. The vocal sampling throughout the album is crazy, and it acts kind of like a glue, and at some points a transition through for subjects. You know, the vocal sampling acts like a transition from subjects, like in between. I think it was Look at Me and Frank Lucas, but you know, I'm gonna get into that when that comes. But yeah, off the bat of this album, I could already tell first listen, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a, you know, this is gonna be an old school jazzy type of album, and it was. And you know, it was a good intro, because even lyrically, he starts off with a nice steady flow, then he turns up the pace and he turns up the lyrical complexity. So again, it already foreshadows what the rest of the album is gonna be like. You know, old school jazzy beats that are very musical and original and hard, and then lyrical complexity, steady flows, deliberate delivery, you know, amazing cadence. He already showcased that in the intro, and that's exactly what he delivered consistently throughout the rest of the album. And something that I haven't mentioned yet is that he wasn't very extreme with the imagery. You know, with his high-paced flows and his lyrical complexity and multi-syllabic rhyming schemes, flow changes, all that type of stuff, I could understand why imagery would be sacrificed to an extent. He didn't sacrifice the imagery all the way. It's not like there was no imagery, but it's not as heavy in imagery as, you know, let's say a Polo G album or All-Star JR album, you know. So I feel like he did have imagery. Like in this song, he started off with some cool imagery. There was some cool imagery throughout it, but in a general sense, I felt more like I could hear what he's saying more so than I could see what he's saying. And it's relatable, the things that he's saying, you know, if you can relate to it, but it doesn't necessarily, like I said, it doesn't necessarily paint a picture. So that's something I noticed with the first song as well, and you know, that also happens consistently throughout.